What up, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Estate Unlocked podcast. I am your host, Joseph Marone, and today we're going to be covering one of the most important topics in real estate, absolutely mandatory to scale your business, the key to opening doors. Today, we're going to be covering the power of networking. Networking is a crucial aspect of any business, and real estate investing is no exception. In fact, it can be argued that networking and building connections is even more critical in real estate, as it often relies on building connections and relationships to find the best deals and opportunities. These opportunities come in various forms, such as off-market properties, partnership deals, raising private capital, or investment opportunities that aren't widely advertised. Now, you know how we do it on the Real Estate Unlocked podcast. If we're going to do it, we got to do it right. We can't just bring on anyone to speak about networking. We got to bring on the queen of networking. Today, our special guest on the podcast is Brenda Jones. Brenda has been a tech recruiter for 17 years, and alongside this, has also discovered a passion for real estate. With a strong economics background from UC San Diego, Brenda effectively merges technology insights with smart real estate investment strategies. Her specialty is raising capital funding for large multifamily assets. She's a partner of 532 units with notable figures like Morby and Veena Jetti, and runs a local investor group based out of Orange County, California that now has over 600 plus members. So without further ado, I've been talking long enough. Everyone, if you will, please allow me to formally introduce to you Brenda Jones. Brenda, long time no see. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Joseph. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited as well. How's everything going? Everything good your way?
Yeah, busy. Trying to get that money.
Not trying. You are getting that money.
I am. You're right. That's right.
Cool. So this interview is special to me because it's almost as if we've come full circle. For those that don't know, Brenda and I, we pretty much started our journey roughly around the same time. She started just a few months before me and was actually one of the first people I met and connected with. I think we both knew right away we were kind of destined for great things. Slightly different paths, but just to see what we've both been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time is crazy. And now for us to sit down and have the opportunity to share your story and your successes on my podcast is so awesome to me. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and educating us on the importance of networking and what being a connector in the community has done for you and can do for others.
Absolutely. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So Brenda, why don't you start off by telling us your story? You already make a great living as a high W-2 earner. What exactly is your why factor, and what specifically made you choose real estate?
Sure. My journey into real estate investing started with me and my husband trying to buy a house in 2022. And that was during the time when the interest rates went crazy. So that was from like February to August. And, we were looking at houses every weekend, making offers. And honestly, we were getting priced out like 200, 300K. And as it got further and further along in the year, we went from trying to buy a 5-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom condo with HOAs, right, for the same price. Right. And so it just didn't make sense. I didn't want to be house poor. So we just, tabled our search for a minute, definitely frustrated. And, I love telling the story because Morby magically appeared on my Instagram. So I started going down a hole, right? YouTube hole, watching his videos like everyone else, I'm sure. And I was also following some other, real estate guys and gals on there. And after 6 months in March of 2023, I decided to join Sub2, which is Morby's mentorship. And, took a few months to realize exactly what my lane was, have zero real estate experience. So there was a lot of learning I needed to do. I thought I wanted to do midterm rentals. And so I was networking with as many wholesalers within the group. But unfortunately, none of the deals really made sense for me. So I was one of the first lucky people who got to go to community camp, which, qualified for that was, high activity within the Facebook group, which again, as a natural networker was easy for me. And that's where it was brought to my attention that I was really good at networking and, building rapport and interjecting myself in groups and just, social butterfly, right? And at the end of the night, I was not exhausted. I didn't need to go hide and like recharge. Like I can do this all day, every day. And I'm pretty sure Veena Jetti told me like, you should just raise capital because that's exactly the skill set that's needed for that. So ever since then, which was, I think last August or July, I decided to focus on raising capital and focusing on multifamily because, people are saying that it's almost the same amount of work from single family to multifamily. So you might as well get a higher yield with multifamily. So that brings us to present day where I was able to find really great partners. We're going to be launching our multifamily fund by the end of this month. And we are targeting multifamily units, 50 to 150 units in North Carolina, B minus class, C plus class, garden style, and then 1990 or younger. So that's what we're doing.
I love that story because it's very similar to why I got into real estate. Me and my wife, we're both from Southern California. So we both know that the prices here are outrageous with these interest rates.
Yes.
So me and my wife, we started looking in the beginning of the year to purchase our first primary residence. Mm-hmm. Now we both make pretty decent money. So we were qualified, but the thing is, when we started looking at what the loans were being offered and how much we were going to pay on a monthly basis, we were right around 4,400 to all the way up to 5,000 for our price range, right? So now we could afford that, but we were going to be house broke. And who wants to live like that, right? Nobody wants to live house broke. It's not sustainable long term. So I knew I had to bring more revenue in, and that's how I got. And I actually found Pace Morby through YouTube and just watching his stuff, and I just connected very well with them. So very similar story. Thank you for sharing that story with us. So, but you've quickly realized the importance of networking early on. I see you on social media. You're out there at events all the time. You're constantly making new connections. Mm-hmm. For someone who's completely new to real estate, what are the first steps that they should take to start building their network? Where should they go and who should they be trying to meet?
Yeah, I'll probably take it one step a little bit earlier than that. Pace Morby has an avatar series on YouTube, and he goes over, I think, 20 or 30 avatars where essentially are like job descriptions that you can do in real estate investing. I would do that because, again, you want to focus on things you like to do, things you're good at. You don't want to be doing things that are going to be a chore or like feeling like a job, right? So again, for me, networking, it's like breathing. So I wake up in the morning excited to do it. I don't wake up like, oh God, I got to talk to people, right? Which there's a lot of people who don't like to do that. Right. And then there's another thing that they should do is take the Clifton Strengths Test, which that identifies 34 strengths. And again, use those two to identify your strengths and what lane you should be in. And then that's the direction you should go. But in regards to, where do you start to build a network? Honestly, it's a local community. And for us, right, in Orange County, we didn't have one. So we made one. And again, I'm trying to make it sound easy, but it's not. I had 4 to 5, 6 other people who had the same goal. So together we built it. I didn't do it alone. And we were consistent. We've been doing it every 2 weeks since May, which was right after Pace's book signing in LA. And, I was in charge, or I am in charge of the social media for that group. So I just try to blast it everywhere as much as I can. I try to, provide value to people as to why they should come to the group and meet people. But the easiest free way is go on Facebook or Google or meetup.com or Evite, find a local group and try to start developing close relationships. Because, Zoom it's very impersonal, like you can only get to know someone so much, but like sitting next to someone, shaking their hand, feeling the vibe, like that's how you develop a real relationship.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up because I know you just mentioned that you and a few others, you created a local investor group in Orange County called OCJV. And we'll get into that story in a little bit here. But why do you feel community building and local meetups are so important?
Because my own personal story, I have 0 real estate experience. And it's funny that when people talk to me now, they think I've been doing it for years. And it's been, I think it's 9 months, 10 months now since March. The only way to learn is from people, right? Like I know there's people out there who like to read books and watch a bunch of videos, but that's all still like theoretical, right? You got to learn on the job, on the go, and what's the best ways to learn from someone, partner up with someone, do the damn thing, make a mistake, learn from your mistake. It's got to be tangible, and that's the only way
Right.
you can do it. Like real estate is not a solo sport, right? It's a team sport. So you need a team around you.
Absolutely. And that's the same thing with me. My W-2 is I'm a building engineer, right? So I was going to school for that, but I was also working at the same time. And the reason I bring that up is because, when I was going to school, yeah, sure, I was learning, but I didn't really learn until I was actually making mistakes on the job and learning, breaking things, and figuring out how to go and fix these problems. And it's the same concept that applies to real estate. Everybody thinks that they just have to have it all figured out, right? Day one, I got to have this whole thing figured out and then I'll be ready. But no, it's like you just got to get out there, keep learning and fail forward, right? Make mistakes, create problems, and learn from those. So glad you brought that up. Another thing you brought up is the Avatar series, which I'm glad you did. So the Avatar series, I've talked about that on my channel before. And for those that don't know what the Avatar series is, I highly suggest you go watch the entire series that Pace Morby put together on his YouTube channel. It's very beneficial. And the purpose behind it is to give you identity or clarity for what you're supposed to be in real estate. It helps you give a direction on different paths you can take. And the reason I bring that up is because one of the avatars is connector, in which Brenda identified as, and which correlates with networking, and which Brenda would soon realize it's her superpower.
That's right.
Brenda, do you mind explaining what exactly being a connector in real estate involves?
Yeah, connector is someone who, at least for me, right, can kind of put the puzzle pieces together, right? So again, for me, I don't have any real estate experience, but I know how to make friends. So I was making friends with a bunch of wholesalers, right? So if I saw a wholesaler post, a deal in the group for Florida, and I had networked with someone that's buying in Florida, right? If I'm not buying in Florida, I can introduce that wholesaler to that buyer and make the connection, and hopefully they can do a deal together, right? And in that process, I'm also learning about the deal, what they like, what they don't like. So it's putting the puzzle pieces together, being able to kind of see things holistically, like take a step back, see the big picture, and bring people together that normally couldn't find each other.
Right. Any advice you would give to beginners who might be looking to establish themselves as a connector as well?
You have to get yourself out there. Maybe set some goals of, I want to make 10 friends a week, right? 2 people a day, that type of thing. If you are part of a mentorship, then reach out to people on whatever platform that they're on and set up a calendar and try to like connect with these people for 15 to 20 minutes. Again, go meet people at any type of group, honestly, real estate group, tech group, talk to your barista, talk to the bagger at the grocery store. The more people you can connect with, the easier it is.
So, oftentimes in the business world, we hear great quotes from books or other successful entrepreneurs. Some stick, some don't. What are your thoughts on the saying, your network is your net worth? Do you believe in that?
100%. Yeah. So again, it's a recurring theme with me, right? Zero experience in real estate. So how can I excel in something that I don't have people around me who are excelling in, right? Like, why are you going to get real estate experience from someone who doesn't invest? I mean, majority of my friends own their primary home, but that's the extent of it, right? But you want to
Right.
surround yourself around multimillionaires, billionaires, because they've done it. They've made the mistakes. And in these mentorships, they're willing to share their knowledge for free and they want to see you succeed, right? So we all collectively help each other to, reach these goals. But for me, like I've been recruiting for a long time. Again, a lot of my best friends, my mentor are high net worth, W2 people, but I hit the peak, right? So now I'm trying to get to the next one, and that's real estate. So that's the only way, is to surround yourself with people smarter than you. You want to be the dumbest person in the room, right? Another cliche saying.
It's funny because when I first joined Sub 2, it's obviously it's a paid mentorship. And when I bought into it, I thought initially I was buying into the program, like I was paying for the videos and the education. Then I quickly realized, once they give you access to the private, Facebook group and community, that's when I saw the real value. Having access to all these people around you, that's the key to it. And that was the real value of buying into the membership. Now, when we first joined the Sub 2 community, one of the first action steps that Pace pushed so heavily is to go out and make 50 friends, right? Why do you think that that was one of the first action steps that Pace gave to us? And what type of value am I going to gain by just reaching out to 50 random strangers online?
Again, it doesn't require real estate knowledge, right? It doesn't require money. It requires you to do something, which again, there's a lot of people who are stuck in analysis paralysis. But,
Right.
you can only learn if you talk to someone. So if you're just sitting behind your computer all day watching a video, which is great, again, these videos are very high level, right? Like, you can't learn how to do something in detail unless you're doing it in real life.
Hmm.
And, again, another advantage of meeting 50 random people is perspective. My experience as a connector is different than John's, Jim's, Sarah's, right? Your experience with wholesaling is different for me. So you want to take all that knowledge and see how you can, apply it to yourself. And then again, connecting, maybe you met people and you can connect them together and then they can partner up.
Do you think you can find success without it, without networking?
No, honestly, I mean, not in real estate, and obviously not in recruiting. Maybe if you are selling digital products behind your computer all day, maybe, but any type of job that involves people, you need to learn how to network and connect and talk to them.
Absolutely. Can you share a personal experience where your networking played a key role in a successful deal or project?
Yeah, I mean, so OCJV, right? So we were 10, 11 people that came together to build this group. And how I found my current business partners, right? So that first initial group, he doesn't come around often anymore because he's got a very busy day job. But he had recommended my partner, his name is Andreas, to come to one of our meetups up in Garden Grove when Kevin Cho was visiting.
Right.
And we met each other very briefly. And the one thing he took away from it was I was the only one focusing on multifamily capital raising. And here's the thing, like, if we didn't start OCJV, if I didn't make friends with Morgan, which is the original guy, like, I would have not found Andreas and his wife to be partners. I would have just been sitting here watching videos and then a year later accomplished nothing. And because I have networked with people within Sub 2, I was able to partner with Pace and Veena on, these units in Arizona. And that was all through other students. But these opportunities are not going to fall on your lap if you're just hiding in a corner, silent.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember being at that event. That was a great event, by the way. And I remember meeting Andres. Andres is a great guy. So that's a great partnership that you have there. And you're partnered up with his wife as well, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It will be the three of us.
Okay, awesome. So you and a few partners, obviously, you guys started raising capital for multifamily units. It's a very smart move on your part, by the way. Talk to us a little bit about how establishing connections and networking can aid in the process of acquiring funds.
Yeah. So for me, like, my strategies right now, one of them is social media, of course, right? So I hired a social media strategist and we are pumping out a bunch of content. One story that just happened recently was a gentleman is not part of Sub 2, not part of Veena's Multify, but he follows Pace. So he's watching a video Pace. He came across a video of me and Pace cutting the ribbon in Tucson for that 160 unit property that just was purchased. And then he found my Instagram page, and then he reached out to me And we set up a meeting, and he's an accredited investor, and he's interested in investing with us because he's in single family, but he wants to get into multifamily. So that's why I wanted to invest in funds originally, because that's the easiest way to get into it is if you have capital. And again, not everyone does. I'm lucky that I do.
Right.
That was my easiest way to start learning and networking with people in multifamily.
Right, right. So without a doubt, real estate can, be a challenging industry. Any obstacles you faced on your journey so far? And if so, how did you overcome them?
I mean, in the beginning, right? 0 experience. I definitely was feeling frustrated, worried that I had joined something that was a scam, right? I had friends saying, "Is this multi-level marketing?" But I stuck through it, right? Again, like you mentioned, Subtude, there is a cost, and I wanted to make sure that I just didn't throw money away, right? Like, why am I going to give up after 2 months? And one thing that I like to shed light on is joining the mentorship is like going back to school. Like, if you have no real estate experience, like, you got to learn from somewhere, right?
Right.
So it was an investment in me to learn a brand new trade, and you're not going to be an expert in anything in a few months. And in the Facebook group, I know when you see a bunch of people posting their wins, you feel like you're behind, but you really need to take a step back and think, like, I didn't become a superstar recruiter after 3 months, right? It took a long time. And,
Right.
17 years later, like, I've got a great resume. I've worked with really well-known companies. We don't need to share that, but it took time, and it took effort and hard work.
No, you're right. And, I didn't have the time to, read books all the time. I love reading, but obviously when you have a busy schedule, you can only read so much. You can only watch so many podcasts and watch videos. And that's why I found benefit from the mentorship as well. And that's why I joined. So, that's a very good point on that. But I gotta say, you've got a full-time job, you're actively seeking multifamily unit deals, partners with a capital raising fund company, you run a local investor group, constantly networking on social media and making new connections. And if that wasn't enough, a mother at that. Brenda,
Yeah.
do you sleep? Are you how are you managing all this?
Honestly, I am a woman, right? We can multitask. But the biggest thing is I'm passionate about it, right? Recruiting is sales. Real estate is sales. I know there's parts of real estate that are like transaction coordinating and whatnot, but the the forward facing part of real estate is sales, right? And that's my passion. And it's easy. Like I said, find something you're passionate about and it doesn't feel like a job. So I'm not exhausted. I mean, I am exhausted, right? Like, just life in general, but I wake up every morning excited to move this business forward. And I'm excited to see what I'm going to accomplish in the next day, week, month, year, you know?
I think you hit it on the head. You really do got to have a passion for this, right? Because it just takes so much of your day and there's a lot of commitment involved. And
Yes,
if you don't absolutely love this, in a few months, you'll be switching over to something else,
that's right.
right? So it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot, and it takes away from family time as well, right? My
Yes.
wife's always telling me, like, come on, like, let's go do this. I'm like, hey, I got to take care of this. We'll get to that in a little bit. But she understands and she's supportive of my journey. So, yeah, you definitely have to have a passion for this. So, Brenda, any new goals you set for the new year? What's 2024 look like for Brenda?
Yeah, for me, I'm personally going to try to raise $4 million by the end of the year.
$4 million.
Ideally, $4
Wow.
million. Yes. Yep. So if you want to break that down, since I'm looking to raise from accredited investors, our minimum investment is 100K. So,
Okay.
that's not too many people. But, my biggest thing is I need to get in front of as many people as possible. And that's social media.
Right.
And, my biggest network right now is actually LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the main tools that I use as a recruiter. And again, I've been doing it for 17 years. So I actually almost have 17,000 people in LinkedIn. And I've been
Wow.
recruiting for engineers this whole time. And if you know anything about engineering, these guys are high W-2 earners as well. So
Yes.
that's my goal. And just try to be visible.
So I know you guys have a website that leapfrog funds you guys created, and you mentioned LinkedIn. Where else are you reaching out to people? Because I mean, 100K to invest is a very small niche list, right? So where exactly are you marketing to, or how are you reaching out to these people? Are they like investor events, or talk to us a little
Yeah,
bit
so
about that?
LinkedIn, I'm doing some strategies of like posting and getting people's interest so they reach out to me. I'm going to network with maybe like investment bankers, financial planners, and see if we can partner together, right? Because both of those type of people are dealing with high net worth people. Again, social media, right? People are finding me, especially since I'm associated with Pace and Veena. Hopefully my content is getting attached to their content and getting suggested, right, on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So, but I also have like this year, I'm going to Raise Fest, which is a raising capital conference in Arizona. I'm going to Fund Launch, another capital raising fund conference in Orlando. So I'm going to conferences, meeting people. And funny enough, I was speaking to another syndicator and he was asking me, what value do I get going to these conferences when everyone else is trying to raise money? And in all honesty, people want to try to do something, but what's the percentage of them that's actually going to take action, right?
Right.
1%. So the other 99% are potential investors. And if I can make relationships and gain their trust and bring them value, I can see that we can, develop a partnership. So
I think you're very great at it. You're very approachable, and just having conversations with you, you just know how to draw a crowd and get people to talk to you. It's like me and my
Mhm.
wife were talking about that. She's like, Brenda's really great at that, so you're doing a good job and you're crushing it out here. So
Appreciate
I want to
that.
get back to OCJV. Tell us the story on how OCJV was born and why you guys decided to start that group and take on that role.
Yeah. So I started Sub 2 late March, and Pace Morby was coming to Los Angeles, I think the beginning of May. And so JJ Azizian, he's one of the leaders in Sub 2,
Yep.
got a bunch of us that volunteered to pretty much spearhead that event. And we ended up having, gosh, I think 400 people there. It was a lot of people. It was at Griffith Park.
Was that the book
And
signing or was that
book
the
signing, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah. Pace's book, Wealth Without Cash. And, while I was standing around and it was kind of like winding down and I was tired, I've been up since, gosh, probably 6 o'clock because I drove there. And I'm going to be honest, I was bitching about the commute. I was like, oh my God, it took me like 2 hours to get here. Why don't we have something in Orange County? And someone behind me was like, I'm from Orange County. And then it was like a domino effect. I'm from Orange County. I'm from Orange County. And then
Wow.
we're like, why don't we have our own in Orange County? Like, yeah, let's do it. And so we got each other's phone numbers. We started a text thread and we honestly all met each other 2 weeks later. We met each other at Fashion Island at the food court. Like I said, there was 11 of us. And it was amazing because we had no idea what we were going to expect. Everyone was so different in their experience, careers, even just personally. And we all recognized that we all had individual strengths to help each other. And we decided like, hey, let's start doing this, like we want to help each other and let's see how we can help others. And so our group OCJV is open to everyone. So Sub 2, Gator, TC, real estate agents, title people, like anybody. And Grant let us use his office up in Huntington Beach Harbor, and we've been doing it ever since, every 2 weeks. And the structure of our meetup is very different than the other ones. We don't have a special speaker with a PowerPoint going over all this stuff. We just we explain it like we're a bunch of best friends sitting on the couch just shooting the shit. Like if I have something I learned, I want to share it with you. If you have something you learned, share with me. How can we collaborate? How can we just learn from each other? Because honestly, most of us were all beginners. There were definitely some experienced people, but again, like creative finance, even though you've been in real estate for the last 30 years, apparently is not a very popular thing. So we just built a environment where it was, how can we help you? How can we bring value to you?
I love that, because you're right. Every time I've been maybe like 3 or 4 of you guys' events, and every time I've shown up, it's always been like a family feel, and it's like I just met you guys, and it was just like, welcome to the family,
Yep.
and it's nothing but good vibes. Everybody I've met has been great people. So yeah, that's pretty cool that you guys did that, and that you guys were, you made this 2-hour drive and you're complaining about it, but look what came of it. Imagine you didn't make that 2-hour drive.
Yep.
Would OCJV even be alive today? And maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. But yeah, that you guys have an awesome group. And I also love that you guys started doing a monthly family get together for your local meetups.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard to break away from the family, which I'm sure prevents some individuals from always showing up. So it kind of eliminates that excuse of not being able to go, right? You guys do that once a month, or is that how
Yeah,
do
we
you
do
guys?
it once a month. Yeah, and we try to alternate like a beach event and a park event. So we have one coming up soon. And yeah, like you said, not everyone can break away on a Tuesday night. And we want to show that again, we're a family group. Bring your children, bring your grandma, bring your sister, bring anybody. It's always a potluck, so people bring food and bring drinks. We always have an abundance of food left over. So whoever needs to bring it back, like our first one we had at the beach, and one of our members, his name is Vin, he's a general contractor and he has a crew that he needs to feed. And I said, take all the food, please feed them. Like they deserve it. And he was so grateful. And, like that's awesome. Right. So it's very special.
Great vibes, great vibes. Now you did bring up the 160 unit multifamily property. I saw you in that video cutting that ribbon. That's awesome. Can you talk about your experience with the Sub 2 Fund and becoming a partner with Pace Morby and Veena Jetti?
Yeah. So being a limited partner, in a fund is you bring money to the deal. You do not have vote to what happens to the deal, right? Those are the general partners. Those are the people who are actually running the asset. So, I'm bringing money to the table, but in exchange, and again, what makes Sub 2 Veena's group different is that they teach you how the deal is broken down, how they acquired the asset, how they're going to rehab and value add the asset. If you were to just join any random fund outside like BlackRock, they just take your money and then you get checks and you get like emails once a month, right? So
Right.
again, what's unique about these mentorships is that these mentors really want to teach you and bring you up because there's enough for all of us to be successful. There's enough for all of us to learn and buy. And that's the one thing that they always like to promote is that abundance mindset, right? So if I didn't put money into Pace's fund and Veena's fund, honestly, I don't think it would have taken me, like I don't think I would be able to make my own fund. I wouldn't have found the right people, found my niche. I would have just been still watching videos and probably trying to do a midterm rental and then nothing, right? So I jumped off the ledge into the deep end and took a risk. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I'm happy that positive things came of it.
And being the queen of networking, you somehow find a way to the front of the line and get to cut the ribbon. How did that come about? How did you get to cut the ribbon with Pace? Were you just the highest investor there, or what's going on?
No, I am the outgoing social butterfly. And when Pace said, "Hey, come over here," I ran as fast as I could.
Hey, you're tackling people out there. Get out the way.
Yeah, I Heisman a couple people and,
Right.
jumped over. No, but yeah, I mean, Pace was standing there by himself and he's like, "Hey, like this is all ours. Like let's do it." But yeah, I did hustle my ass to stand next to him. Not gonna lie.
Great, great. So the last thing I want to touch on is this Willy Wonka golden ticket I keep hearing so much about. Pace Morby extends a free ticket to his community camp to the most active people in the community and also the leaders that continue to provide value. Which what I love, by the way, because it gives everyone an incentive and a reward for being active and helping others, right? So this is the second year in a row that you've been awarded the golden ticket. Talk to us about that and what earning that ticket means to you.
You know what it means that I'm being recognized for my efforts, right? Being recognized as a leader in Orange County, bringing value to people that normally wouldn't have an avenue, right? It's amazing, right? It just shows that doing a little thing every day doesn't have to be huge, right? Just make a post, show up, jump on a Zoom, make a connection, go to a meetup. Like, these things do add up. And if you asked me this last March, I would be doing this, like a whole fortune teller type of thing. I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, are you serious? Like, my whole goal to get into real estate investing was to buy a couple rentals, get some cash flow, and get some tax appreciation. That's it. And now I'm
Right.
like raising $4 million, and I have a fund, and I'm an influencer. Like, I say it like that because it's kind of weird, right? Like, it's still kind of cringy, but I'm trying to get used to it. But like, I have got huge goals now. Like, I want to speak on stage. I want to speak next to Pace and Veena, so sky's the limit. I'm going full force.
I can definitely see you speaking on stage and having that presence. So this golden ticket, is this, so there's 50 total? Is that what it is? Or did he raise it up higher this year?
Oh, honestly, I don't know the details. I know
Okay.
I got the golden ticket this time because as an OCJV leader, right, we were involved with the Family Promise charity event. So that's my understanding why I got that ticket.
Right. And do you want to talk about that for a little bit, about the family promise? Because I thought that was dope that you guys got involved with that. And it was something great that Pace put together. So when you say you got involved, what exactly were you guys doing? What was your part in the role?
We took in donations for Orange County, and we helped, provide that to the local Family Promise, I think, location. And then just spreading the awareness, right? I mean, the more people that we could educate on this charity, the better. It's pretty exciting. It was cool. But yeah, and then we got to do an event up in LA, which brought all the local communities together. So it was really nice.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. So, Brenda, one of the things that I like to do is give the community a voice as well in these podcasts. So, typically, I'll explain the topic that I'm currently covering, and I'll ask if anyone has any questions that they would like addressed. And the question I chose today is by our very own Sammy Nicole. Shout out to Sammy. Her question was, how do you clarify your connector fee up front? She says, in building a relationship, I want to just share any resources I know of to help someone out. So I just end up giving it out the info, which she's been okay with. But it's a great question. How do you clarify your connector fee up front?
So I'm going to be honest, I have not been collecting fees. But my understanding is, and this is just like a general rule in life, just be upfront and honest, right? Like, there's no reason to beat around the bush. If you know you have value, then show it, right? So I don't know exactly how much that would cost, right? Like, I don't know if it's like 1% of the deal or whatnot. But if I'm going to make a business out of this, then I'm going to make it clear that if I'm going to make these connections, there's going to be a fee. And in all honesty, you should probably sign an upfront agreement before you start making those introductions.
Yeah, because I also thought it was a great question because, you are making connections, right? And, it's got to be, you're spending time doing so, right? And, you want to do it out of goodwill, but sometimes you're like, hey, someone might be looking for a funding partner. And then you're like, hey, I can plug you in. All of a sudden, that person becomes a millionaire. I think you should get a percentage. So I thought it was a great question by Sammy. So good question, Sammy. I think we got the point across on the importance of networking and building strong connections in the community. Is there anything that you can think of that we didn't cover here today and should absolutely be talked about?
I mean, the biggest thing is you got to take action. You got to get up off your ass.
Right.
It's a team sport, you know, just do it.
Get active. Get active. Be out there, right?
Yeah.
Brenda, where can people get a hold of you?
Yes. So on the screen right there is Brenda Rose Invests on Instagram. That's the same on Facebook. That's the same on YouTube. And then my LinkedIn says Brenda Rose Jones.
Awesome. And we'll make sure that we plug all these in on the screen here. So awesome. Well, Brenda, you've been a rock star at making yourself very well known and seen in the community. You're doing the right things, making the right moves, and you have a very bright future ahead of you. I know your family's proud of you and you're building a legacy for your son. It's amazing what I've been able to witness you accomplish so far. Hopefully, someone that's listening to this can learn something from your experience, follow your blueprint, and find success as well. So, thank you for that. Now, if you guys found value from this interview, don't forget to show your boy some love. It only takes a few seconds to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this and drop a comment down below what you enjoyed most about Brenda's story. I appreciate all the continued support. And guys, stay tuned because we're going to be pumping these episodes out every 2 weeks. We're going to be covering some great topics, and I don't want you guys to miss out. Best believe I'm going to keep bringing you guys that fire. Thank you, Brenda.